So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Families, Healthy Futures Kitchen. I'm Chef John. I'm glad you could be with us today. We're going to be doing a series of healthy lunches that you can do with your children or something you want to put together really fast. As we go through the recipes today, I'll be pointing out the things that the kids can help you do along the way. The first recipe that we're going to do this morning is going to be a quick sausage and apples dish. This can be done relatively quickly. We're going to put it together very nicely. And the first thing we're going to do is saute off some chicken sausage. This is some chicken apple sausage, just something you can buy in the grocery store. It's very few preservatives, if any. So just make sure you take a look at the back of the label and make sure that it's something that your family can enjoy. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of oil. I'm using avocado oil today, so that I like avocado oil. It's really good for sauteing. And just a little bit more. I'm going to let that oil get hot. I'll drain off my apples. I cut my apples ahead of time, and I put them in some water and a little bit of lemon, so that they would not yellow or turn brown. So as my oil gets hot, I'm going to add my sausage. This is chicken sausage. I'm going to get that kind of hot. It'll start to sizzle. We're just going to brown this off. And then we're going to take it out of the pan and add our apples. Really quick dish, can be done on the fly. Depending on what your age of your children, they can help you chop the apples up. They can stir. We're just going to let this get hot all the way through. Things that we're going to do today, we're going to make some soup. I know it's going to be summertime, but soup's always good. And it's always easy, and it's something that the kids enjoy. And we'll put all this together at the end, and I'll show you how these make up a complete lunch. Again, I'm using apple-based chicken sausage. You could use any kind of sausage you really like. If you like the full kielbasa's or the andouilles, that's fine. Feel free to use it. Turkey sausage works well in these kind of dishes. And what I'm doing is I'm just getting this hot all the way through. So it'll take about 4 to 5 minutes. Hopefully you've gotten copies of the recipes with you. If not, we just launched our brand new website called eathealthync.org. And you're more than welcome to find these recipes up there. They'll be up probably next week after the class. So I'm just trying to brown these up a little bit. Then I'm going to take them out of the pan and add my apples. It's a dish you can serve on a rainy afternoon, or if you're in a hurry, you can do this really fast. Need to get somewhere. This does a really good job of staying in the refrigerator, so it makes a good leftover as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this off. Kind of browned as much as I want them to be. I'm going to scoop these onto a plate. I know we only have an hour today. If we run over, if you have to drop off, that's okay. Okay. So I'm going to add a little more oil to my pan. Again, I'm using avocado oil today. Has a really nice smoke point. And then I'm going to add my apples. This is a one pan meal. I'm gonna saute my apples a little bit. And I didn't peel these. These are Gala apples. I didn't peel them. Oh, I take that back. These are Honeycrisp apples. I didn't peel them because I kind of like to have the peels on them when I do this. But if you want to take them off, that's okay. Oil. I added a little bit of apple cider vinegar to it. And I'm going to add just a tad bit of brown sugar. It's about a teaspoon. I just want to make a little bit of a coating for the apples. We'll let these cook for just a few minutes. The apples, I soaked the apples in the water so that so they wouldn't turn brown. So I'm not going to add any more water to this. The recipe called for 3/4 of a cup, but I don't think it really needs it. Looking at it, I'm just going to stir these up till they get nice and brown. You want to try to get your apples in a thin slice, about like what you see in the little packaged apples that you get for the kids. And we're going to let that cook for a few minutes. You just really kind of want to soften the apples up a little bit, but you can keep them, as crisp as you want to. I want to try to get this heated all the way through. They'll start to soften and brown up. Didn't add any salt to this. I think there's plenty in the sausage itself. If you want to salt or add a little pepper to it, that's fine. If you've been to my classes, you know Chef John does hit the salt really hard. We have enough salt in our diet anyway. And you can speed this cooking along if you wanted to with the lid. I'm just going to let them cook for a little bit. I want to bring out the flavor of the apples. We only put a little bit of sugar in it, just a very little bit. The apples are going to be sweet. Chicken sausage is a little sweet. So we don't want to add a lot of sugar to this. Again, if you want to add more, that's fine. Takes away a little bit of the health in this, but my apples are starting to soften up a little bit. I'm trying to get them all to stay kind of on the bottom of the pan. This was 3 apples, by the way. So this will make enough for about 4 servings. If you want to make more, you just have to double it. Or if you want to make less, use 2 apples and 2 sausages. All right, so now I'm just going to add back my sausages. You can cook these apples on down further if you want. That's fine. I think this makes a really healthy little lunch with a side salad of some type. Again, easy, really quick. I'm just going to cook that for another minute or so till everything gets hot through. We'll go on to our next dish. A little bit of black pepper for a little more savory. And you could add to this, you could add some rosemary, you could add some thyme. You could add pretty much any kind of spice you wanted to it, what your family likes. All right, I think I'm gonna let that go for now and start our soup. So tomato soup is really, I mean, soup in general is really a good thing to do. At this time of year, even in the summer, soups are really good because you can do it. This is what I call clean out my refrigerator soup. I'm going to start with, again, with a little avocado oil. And I'm going to add my onions. I just used about 2 green onions. I want to go ahead and get that kind of soft. As soon as that gets hot, we'll saute that down. When I say you can clean out your refrigerator with this, if you've got vegetables that you haven't used and you want to go ahead and use them up, this is a very, very good way to do it. Soups are one of the coolest things you can do to make use of your leftover vegetables. I'm going to let that start sauteing. I can hear it now. Again, this is another 1-pot meal. As soon as we get this done, we'll let it simmer a little bit, and we'll go on to the next one. Then we'll come back and finish it up. While that's getting hot, I'm using some zucchini from the farmer's market and some yellow squash. The recipe says or. I had both, so I'm going to use both. I've got a carrot. Carrot I chopped really small. The reason why, it's more dense than the other vegetables. So I really want to get those to soften up. So I made these actually smaller. If you take a look at my zucchini and my carrots, you can see that they're a lot smaller than the zucchini. If I made them all the same size, it would take forever for the carrots to get done. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in with my onion. And just let them start to cook, get a head start on the cooking process. I'm also going to go ahead and add the celery. Again, it's another veg that takes a little bit of time to cook. And depending on your preference, you can, use whatever vegetables, like I said, whatever vegetables you have on hand that you want to get rid of. Or you've got maybe you bought some broccoli and you didn't use it all. Well, this is a very good way to take care of that. And I'm just going to build my flavors here as I go. I've got the carrots in there. I'm letting them kind of soften up a bit. I'm using green onions instead of regular onions. Again, this is what I had in the refrigerator. I didn't want to cut a whole onion. So I had a bunch of green onions that I needed to use up. So that's what I'm doing today, is I'm using my green onions in my soup. If you have, kids that have their favorite vegetables, or you're trying to introduce new vegetables to your family's diet, this is a really good way to do that, because there's a lot of other things going on. They're not just sitting here eating, those stinky vegetables. They're having some soup with it, maybe a sandwich. We're going to do a couple of sandwiches later. I'm going to go ahead and add my zucchini and my squash. And I'm just going to go ahead and get that going. I really like the smell of onions and celery cooking together. Just a pinch of salt and pepper for this. And that's what it does, add some flavor, but it also helps to bring the moisture out in the vegetables, especially the squash and the zucchini, which are mostly water anyway. The salt helps draw that out. It's not a lot, but in this exercise, it's kind of necessary. All right, I'm using unsalted chicken broth today. This is about a cup. This is about a cup that I had. It's about 2 cups actually that I had that was in my refrigerator. Again, using up my leftovers. I'm going to add another little bit. I always try to keep boxes of this on hand. Again, no salt added. That lets you control how much salt's in your diet. our food manufacturers, and one of these days I'm gonna do a class on this for you guys. The food manufacturers are not your friend. Okay, they're just not. They put salt and sugar and things like that in your food so that you'll come back and eat it again. The American diet is too heavy on salt, sugar, and fat. So that's about 3 cups of chicken stock. You could use water. You don't have to use stock. You can make your own. I'm gonna add a little oregano to this now. Stir that in. And I'm just gonna let this cook. I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato paste. And obviously you can season this any way you want. You don't have to use anything here that I'm using. The point is that you can use soup a lot of different ways to, like I said, to introduce new foods, new vegetables to your diet, to your family's diet, and or use up what you have in the refrigerator. We're all about no waste cooking in the Healthy Families, Healthy Futures cooking school. So we try to use up every little bit. This is about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Again, no salt added. You can find that in the stores. I actually compared the labels to one that was labeled no salt added and some that were labeled the other way. I didn't find any difference. So I thought that was kind of telling that the can of tomato paste that had no salt added and the can of tomato paste that was not labeled no salt added had the exact same amount of sodium. So just kind of keep that in mind. Always read your labels in the stores, guys. Always. Okay. Now we're done. We're just going to let this cook till everything's nice and soft. And we're done. And we're going to have some veg soup. You could also add to this some lima beans, some chickpeas. I mean, you could add, there's countless ways that you can make this even more healthy. If you want to add some more proteins to it, use some lentils maybe. And there's just scads of ways to make this soup super healthy, super fun. Okay, everybody good? I mean, I could put a lid on this and just let it simmer for about maybe 30 minutes until my veg is nice and soft. They're still pretty crisp right now. You just want to get them just tender. Kind of like cooking potatoes. We don't cook our potatoes all the way done. Beautiful color, nice and red. The tomato paste added the color. The vegetables are beautiful, green and yellow. Orange carrots and onions. And we're done. We'll bring that to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, and just let it simmer till it's done to where you want it to be. Okay? Beautiful vegetable soup. Another easy lunch item. All right. I'm going to go ahead and let this cook for a little bit. And I'm going to switch. Our next recipe is we're going to make a chicken salad, a ranch chicken salad slider. This will go along really well with our soup. Since we don't have a lot of protein in the soup over here, we're going to add some chicken to it, chicken salad to it. You could even put this in the soup if you wanted to, as it is. At my house, I keep bags of frozen chicken, just store-brand frozen chicken breast in my freezer. And on a day when I don't have a whole lot going on, I'll just put it in a big pot, very similar to what we put soup in some water with some rosemary and some thyme, and I'll just poach it. And when it's done, I'll cool it off. I'll shred it like I did this, just with my hands, just breaking it into chunks, and put it in individual bags and put it back in the freezer. And then when I want to make a burrito or a salad or nachos or what have you at my house when my kids are home, I just pull out the bag, put it in some warm water till it thaws out, and then off I go. So that's a good tip. Just keep some of that. Now, if I were going to make chicken, like, in a chicken dish, I'd probably use a different type of breast. But for this kind of exercise where I'm making chicken salad, or I'm using it in a tortilla, or making nachos, or putting it in soup, The store brand chicken breast in the bag is just fine, frozen. You could even put them in a pot of hot water frozen right out of the bag and poach them. And it's just really good. And it just makes a really good centerpiece for other items. So for this one, I'm going to add to it. Everybody has their own favorite chicken salad recipe. I have my own. This is not necessarily it. I like this one just fine, but my favorite one's a lot different and it's a little quirky, so I'm not going to talk too much about it today. When I owned my own restaurant, it was one of the highlights of my menu, and people loved it. But I don't like to give that away because I've had people make it and then they go, "Wow, that wasn't really very good for me," but I liked it. This one I came up with myself. I had a fourth apple from the chicken sausage and apples, and so I just peeled it and I chopped it. And what kids don't like apples? Again, I had another bunch of green onion. Use the onion of your choice. I'm not going to put all this in there. Half of that, and some craisins. That's it. I don't put any nuts in. It's kind of a nut-free. We do a lot of nut-free cooking in these videos, so I'm not making you guys put nuts in it. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of, just a dab of Greek yogurt. This is some light mayonnaise. And then just about two big tablespoons of light ranch dressing. You can make your own dressing if you want. I hope you do sometimes. And then we're just going to stir that up. Again, the kids can help you make this. They can stir, they can measure. Teaches them good math skills. Notice I didn't put any salt in this. Again, you're more than welcome to salt this as you wish, although just keep in mind we eat too much salt. This is light ranch dressing. I went through the dressing aisle and I wanted to see what was available that was light, low sodium, low fat. And I found out that just regular light ranch was the best bet. I typically would make my own, but I'm trying to do this so that you guys can see how to make things really quick. I added just a little dash of pepper to it. Again, I don't put salt in my food too much. I'm not an anti-salt person by any stretch. I just think we eat too much of it. All right, and I'm going to put that on a plate up. I'm going to put this on a bun, and we'll have a little sandwich, and that'll go with our soup. Easy, nothing to it. Apples, craisins, and a little onion with some poached chicken breast that's been shredded. Very simple. Okay. Another salad idea. This is going to be kind of a Southwestern take on pasta salad. I cooked off some whole wheat penne pasta. I would have really wanted to find some bow tie pasta that was whole wheat or gluten-free, which I wasn't able to find it at my store. I live kind of out in the boonies, out here on the coast of North Carolina, and our grocery stores are not as deeply stocked as some that when I lived in other parts of the state. This is really another one that goes together super easy. I've already cooked my pasta. I drained it. I put a little bit of avocado oil on it so that it wouldn't stick together. I cooked this again with no salt in the water. I've asked people before, why do you salt your water before you put your pasta in? The best answer I always get is because that's how my mom did it. But another people said so it doesn't stick. I didn't salt that water. What I did do was when it was done and it cooled off a little bit, I sprinkled just a little bit of my avocado oil through it. And then I put it in the refrigerator. And I got it out this morning, and you can see nothing stuck together. So that old thing that you have to put salt in your water, I don't believe. I've heard people say you have to make your water taste like the ocean. I don't agree with that. I absolutely do not agree with that. You can do it if that's what you want to do. That's fine. All right. This is easy. You throw this together really quick. This is a can of corn that I had in the pantry. This is fire roasted corn. Looks a little dull, but you can also use frozen corn. I'm going to dump that in there. That's 1 can. Put this back. You guys can see. A can of black beans that I drained. Here's another tip for you guys. Buy the no salt added, obviously. Still rinse and drain them. Put them in a bowl like this and then put them in the refrigerator. And it will suck out. The refrigerator is basically a big dehydrator. And it will suck out any more moisture. And this works really well when you're using beans like this. You don't get any other moisture in there. So I do that a lot with chickpeas. If I have to put chickpeas in a salad, then I open them up the day before, rinse them, put them in a bowl or put them in a container, and just stick them in the refrigerator and let them finish drying out that way. I chopped up a bell pepper for color. And I'm going to start stirring this up. And you could use any kind of pasta. Any kind of pasta will work with this. Elbow or feta, which is the bow tie pasta. I think you could even get by doing this with fettuccine if you wanted to. This is a cold salad. Again, it's a summertime cooking. You could take this with you to a cookout, or if you're having a cookout, and take this with you because it doesn't have any mayonnaise in it. Or you could add a little dab of light mayonnaise to it if you wanted a little mayonnaise to it. But I'm just going to dress this on the fly. This gets a couple of teaspoons of lime juice. Remember, we're making Southwest salad. And then I'm going to add a little bit more oil. Not a lot. We just really want to bind everything together. And then I'm using, the recipe said a teaspoon of honey. But the first thing I came to in my pantry was some agave syrup, blue agave. And since I was making a Southwest salad, I said, well, let's just use the agave. So that's about a good heaping teaspoon. Calls for honey, but if you got agave, you can use it. You can also use maple syrup, but it might taste a little, it won't taste Southwest. And that, guys, is it. That's all there is to this. Again, this is something you get everything out for it, measure it all up, cook your pasta, let the kids put it together. Super, super simple. If you wanted to add a dab of mayonnaise or a dab of light dressing, certainly go ahead for it. You wanted to change this up, use cannellini beans, can of diced tomatoes that you've drained, and some kind of Italian dressing, oregano, and you can do it that way. Again, this is a Southwest version of this salad. Super easy, super tasty, super healthy. You get the protein from the beans. You get the nice fat from the avocado oil. A little bit of sweet with the honey, or in my case, agave. But that's it. That's that one. I promised folks a while back I would do this recipe, or a recipe like this. This is a quinoa and black bean burger. We're going to do it slider style. Grab the bowl. So we're going to make a quinoa slider burger, black beans. I'm all about the quinoa. I've already cooked my quinoa. This was just the recipe called for a quarter cup, and that's what that is, cooked. I'm not going to spend time today cooking quinoa. You cook quinoa if you haven't cooked it before. You cook it just like rice. Follow the instructions on the package. It's 2 to 1. So I used a quarter cup of uncooked quinoa and a half a cup of water. Bring the water to a boil, put your quinoa in it, turn it down on low, let it sit for about 15, 20 minutes. You're done. Flake it with a fork. And then what I like to do is just put it out in a pan, not the pot I cooked it in, and just put it in the refrigerator. And it's nice and easy. Okay? So I'm going to start this with just a can of black beans, no sodium added. And I'm going to go ahead and put them in a pot, in a bowl. And take my potato masher. I'm just going to mash up some of this. I'm going to leave some of it whole. I want to get it mashed up a little bit. You can do this in a food processor if you wanted to. I just thought today I'd just do it by hand. You just want to get a good mash on it. So Sorry for the knocking. This is going to make about 2 or 3 burgers. Okay, works. And then we're going to add so I'm going to take my quinoa. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to add that. I made some yellow bell pepper. Add that. The rest of my quinoa in the bottom of the bowl. And then I'm going to add I've got a little bit more onion. Again, I'm using up my onion that was in the refrigerator. I'm not going to use a lot. I don't want to overpower. And then everything else just kind of goes into it. Here's some garlic. I'm adding about a clove of garlic mashed. Some cumin. I like cumin in just about everything I eat. A little bit of salt, just a pinch. And then I have some breadcrumbs here. This is about a half a cup. Maybe a little more, depending on how you can always add more, you can't take it out. Then I'm gonna add an egg. And a little bit of, it says hot sauce in the recipe, but you could use ketchup, you could use hot sauce of any type. I'm using some chili sauce because again, it's what I had. I had hot sauce, but I thought this might be a little better. I've been on a chili sauce kick recently. I started making my meatloaf with chili sauce, but it turned out really, really good. It's kind of like ketchup on steroids. Okay. Now I just want to mix all this up together. Doesn't take anything but a big spoon. And so I'm just going to start mixing this together. You want to mix this really good. You want to get that egg all the way through. Then you're going to be using your hands to make the burgers. Again, this is the part that the kids can do. They can stir. Little ones especially. Bigger kids, you teach them how to do this. All right, so I've got that mixed up. I want to check it to see if I can get a really good patty out of it, which I can. So let's see, there we go. I could add more breadcrumbs, maybe just a little pinch, just for the heck of it. And then I'm gonna cook these in the pan. I'm gonna move my soup. By the way, I'm gonna flip this back over so you guys can see the soup now. Sorry, I do that almost every class. There we go. So there's our soup. It's about ready. It doesn't take long at all. I like it. Very pretty. Very tasty. I would taste this at one point. You needed a few more seasonings. You could do that at this point. But other than that, I think it's about ready to be done. I'm going to take it off the fire. And I'm going to get in the skillet. I'm going to let that start heating up a little bit. Put a little oil in the skillet. This, again, I'm using avocado oil. I'm going to fry off a couple of these. If you're using olive oil to saute or fry with, if you haven't tried avocado oil, please try it. It's a healthy source of fat. Back in the day, old cooks, well, I'd say probably like in the mid-80s, there wasn't really an alternative to cooking, frying, or sauteing with anything other than vegetable oil or butter, something like that. And people started to they came up with the idea of using olive oil. It's not the best thing to saute with, but it is healthier than some of the alternatives. But try avocado oil if you haven't. It's a really good source. It takes the heat better than olive oil, and it's a healthier fat. And it doesn't have any taste. It has little or any taste to it at all. So I'm going to make my patties. Now, everything in this is already cooked, so I can cook it to the degree that I want. So I don't have to cook it at all, but I will, because I want to crisp them up a little bit. And I'm just going to cook through. And again, you can make this a full-size burger. I'm going to do it as a slider to go with our other meal items. So there, and you want to make that about an inch thick, no more. Don't want to make them super thick because you want to get them heated through. That's what we're doing here, really. We're going to put a little crisp on them and then get them heated all the way through. So our last one, I was on vacation with the family, and the restaurant where we were staying had avocado toast on the menu. And I didn't try it, but my daughter did, and she loved it. And so I said, well, how do we come up with an alternative that's a little more proteiny and a little more, just a little different? So I said, well, my old friend white beans would be a good alternative. And then we'll add the avocado, onion, and put that all together with some juice of lemon. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and you can also use this. I put this note in the recipe. You use this as a dip if you wanted to put it in a blender and puree it that way. It makes a nice dip for veggies. You can spread it on a tortilla, use it as a roll up, maybe with some lettuce and tomato, make a nice wrap. I'm going to leave this just plain, and then I'm just going to spread it on some bread and just eat it, as like an open faced sandwich. My white beans. These are white navy beans in a bowl. And then I'm going to add some onion. I ran out of my green onions today from my other recipes, so I'm just going to add a little bit of onion to this. Sorry, I need to get in front of the camera. My bad. And then rid of that. A little Dijon mustard. Just a little Dijon. Use mustard of your choice. Don't use mayonnaise. And then a little bit of, this is just the juice of about a half a lemon. Now I'm going to add my avocado. I'm just going to spoon out. And since I'm going to mash this, I don't really care what my avocado is. I'm just going to put it in total like that. I'm going to go ahead and put the other part in. Pretty easy. You don't have to get all pretty. I mean, if your avocados are not quite right, this one actually, I hit this one just right. And then I need a couple of pieces of basil. This is optional. I'm going to chop up a few pieces of basil real fast. Folks to do at lunch that there's no way they cannot do these in about an hour. So that was a couple of leaves of basil that I just chopped. The recipe says chiffonade. It's a fancy word for chop up the basil. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of oil. This is a teaspoon. And I'm just going to mash this up. And that's it. This is just a potato masher. Again, you could use a fork or a spoon or whatever you have. And you don't want to mash it to, I mean, if you want to make it a dip, just process it. But you don't want to make it just a big mess. So if you're gonna put it on toast. All right. Just want to get all that avocado kind of mixed through. Boom, we're done. Now we're going to finish up. We'll do our plate up, answer any questions, and we will let you guys have the rest of the weekend. Let me kind of clear up a little bit and just a shake of pepper in this. All right, I'm going to start our plate up. Grab some plates. I'm still cooking the burgers. I hadn't forgotten. They're just about there. I'll plate those up fast. Chef John's lunch. Thank y'all for coming for lunch today. I got all kinds of good things for you guys. The first thing we're going to do, now I did not make toast points for our avocado toast. You can do that. You can make a sandwich. I'm just going to spread it right on some bread. Just like that. There's one. We'll do two. If you wanted to add some color to this, you can shake a little paprika on it. Sorry. Get over here so you guys can see. There we go. White bean and avocado toast. That's all of that. I'm going to bring back my sausage and apples that have been cooking. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I'll go ahead and put some of that on the plate over here. So that'll be nice and lovely on that side. Some Southwest salad, penne pasta salad. We eat with our eyes, guys. So look at the colors that I got going here today. I got green, I got white, I got brown, I got red, I got black, I got yellow, I got more apples, and I got proteins going over here. All right. Let's get our soup. Trying to get everything under one camera shot. Here's our soup. Let's go ahead and ladle that in a bowl. Vegetable soup. There we go. And we're going to do our sliders last. So I've got a here. I'm going to take one of my black bean burgers. I'm just going to lay that on top of that. And you would dress that just like you would any other burger. It looks a little darker than it really is, but it's just got a nice crispy outside. And I'm just going to put the top on it. You could add a little mustard, ketchup, just anything you want to put on it. And then our last item is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Our last item is our chicken salad. Here's our chicken salad, in a small bun. For little folks, that's just about all the serving we want to do. I'm going to lay that right there. Here's our soup. So today we've done 6 recipes in not quite an hour. We did a nice apple and chicken apple sausage. We did a black bean slider. Again, you could dress that with whatever you like, mustard, ketchup, mayonnaise, a little bit of light mayonnaise, whatever. We made a great vegetable soup using kind of leftovers out of the refrigerator. Squash, carrot, zucchini, a little bit of onion, some chicken stock, tomato paste. That's really good. And you, again, season this how you want. We made a Southwestern pasta salad using black beans, corn, fire roasted corn in this case. You could use frozen corn just as well. Whole wheat penne pasta, and a little bit of olive oil, some avocado oil, I'm sorry, and some agave syrup or honey, whichever you want to do. We made a chicken salad using just economical chicken, if there is such a thing these days, that we just poached off in plain water with a little bit of rosemary, and then chopped apples and craisins and a little bit of onion, and that's it. And then last, we made an avocado and white bean toast. Lots of great fat, lots of good protein in that. And that's it. That's it for today. I appreciate your time. Happy Mother's Day. And thanks for stopping by the Healthy Families, Healthy Futures Kitchen. And we will see you again next time. Have a great day.